In Venezuela, representatives of political parties and former presidential candidates continue in the second day of hearings before the electoral chamber of the Supreme Court to present all the information regarding the electoral process of July 28th. Former Catalan leader Carles Puigdemont returned from exile after almost 7 years and may face an arrest warrant. And a Nobel Peace Prize awarded Muhammad Yunus arrived in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, to take over as the new leader of the interim government. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Venezuela on Thursday, the appearances of the former presidential election candidates continue in the second day of hearings before the electoral chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice. In this sense, the cycle of hearings convened by the electoral chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice is underway with the appearance of the former presidential candidates of the elections of last July 28th and their legal representatives. In this regard, the citizen Javier Bertucci, Daniel Ceballos, Claudio Fermin are summoned to appear before the court that aims to investigate and resolve the controversial appeal filed by the president of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro. On Wednesday, José Brito, representative of the opposition party Primera Justicia, in his appearance before the Supreme Court of Venezuela, emphasized that the former candidate Edmundo González Urrutia had acted in a non-responsible position in the search for a peaceful solution of the issues arising during the presidential elections.
Here there is a very great contumacy, a very great rebelliousness that could lead to a repeated mandate of conduct against Mr. Edmundo González Urrutia, who is also deeply irresponsible with the country, a person who issues a communique but goes out to hide. This is irresponsible before a country that is demanding at this moment to be able to resolve this issue and to be able to present elements, and that today the Venezuelan people are being denied the possibility of being able to resolve this issue through peace, through the path of reaction, through the path of sosiego, and we have to denounce it as such.
The opposition sector that claimed fraud in the last presidential elections in Venezuela still does not present the evidence of its accusation, despite having the institutional and judicial means to do so. Let's see the details with our correspondent, Lionel Retamal.
As in any process, the accusation of fraud or irregularities must be proven. The only proof presented by the opposition sector is a website where they uploaded a percentage of the total tally sheets. The STAR test loses strength a little more than a week after the controversy. Even more, it turns against them, because its veracity has been criticized by Chavismo and other opposition sectors. Those who denounce fraud are the fraudsters, says this Venezuelan lawyer.
For instance, I make use of an accusation by accusing the other. This is when, as a very important example, the thief starts to catch the thief, so that he can escape justice and escape from the pressure he could be victim of. This is what is actually happening. We have the fraudster shouting fraudster at the other.
According to Venezuelan law, his actions and statements may be considered a crime, since they usurp the functions of the electoral power, without considering those already initiated by the prosecution for the acts of violence and the calls for rebellion by the armed forces.
This is the crime of usurpation of functions. This is an attack against the Republic form of state because the democratic system is being undermined. There is a self-proclamation that is nothing more than authoritarianism and dictatorship. But there is also a series of crimes that have been planned behind them, which are crimes of violence. People have been murdered, people have been assaulted, public roads have been obstructed, public and private properties have been damaged.
Even by like-minded sectors such as this leader who attended the electoral inquiries of the judiciary.
Because the only institution authorized to carry out the process of justice and authorized to carry out electoral processes, totalize, adjudicate, and proclaim is the National Electoral Council.
The judicial process that is underway is not a challenge to the process, but a power of the judiciary to investigate and confirm the process, at the request of the winning candidate. This instance has also been ignored by those who denounce fraud.
They do not know it precisely because they do not have the evidentiary capacity to go to the court to deliver the tally sheets that they have. Because all the tally sheets issued by the electoral machines are delivered to the witnesses of each one of the participating parties.
The judiciary's inquiries continue, while the country gradually returns to normality.
teleSUR, Caracas, Venezuela.
This Thursday, the Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, met with the national and international diplomatic cabinet to address the communication issue that the country is facing after the presidential elections of July 28th. Delcy Rodriguez presented evidence of the fraudulent results exposed by the far-right opposition, which show that the documents they tried to pass as tally sheets are incorrect. Rodriguez also expressed that the former opposition candidate Edmundo González and his accomplice Maria Corina Machado were interfering by taking it upon themselves to expose on their website alleged results that only the National Electoral Council should be in charge of. In this regard, she pointed out that the President Nicolás Maduro presented the necessary evidence to the Supreme Court so that investigation could be carried out into the records presented by the extreme right-wing opposition. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Former Catalan leader Charles Puigdemont returned from exile after almost 7 years and may face an arrest warrant. The whereabouts of the pro-independence leader is unknown after having arrived in the country for sworn-in ceremony of Salvadorilla. The Spanish authorities activated the device with controls in several ways out of Barcelona to try to locate Puigdemont, who is under a national arrest warrant accused of embezzlement. Previously, the former Catalan president staged an act in front of thousands of supporters and accused the Spanish state of persecuting the movement for independence of Catalonia. On Thursday, the Parliament of Catalonia held the sworn-in ceremony of the leader of the Socialist Party of Catalonia, Salvadorilla. The lawmaker began his speech by saying, "I ask for your confidence to be the 133rd President of the Generalitat." Illa promised both to work for all political rights and apply the amnesty law for the Catalan pro-independence leaders. Furthermore, the leader pointed out that this vocation is the 8 million Catalans that feel part of the same Catalonia within a plurinational Spain. Illa has the votes to be proclaimed president of the regional government of Catalonia with the support of Esquerra Republicana de Catalunya, Puigdemont's former partners. In the United Kingdom, thousands of people demonstrated against racism, led by activists of the association Stand Up to Racism. Among the participants were members of the Muslim community, migrants and refugees. The demonstrations took place in a calm manner in different cities such as Bristol or Liverpool. However, in some cities were there sporadic tensions between anti-racist and anti-migrant groups. The government of Keir Starmer had ordered a heavy police deployment with 6,000 troops in case of possible disturbances.
No, this protest, this counter demonstration, it was peaceful. We're here to say that we're kicking fascists off the streets. We're standing up for our communities. It's not to incite violence or hatred. It's to come together. And I think people need to understand, if you're coming to protest against anti-fascism, against anti-racism, you need to understand it's not about violence. That's what the fascists want. They use violence because that's a
Past week, the United Kingdom has been experiencing violent protests, which the government claims are extreme right-wing, after 3 girls were murdered in Southport in the northwest of England. The violent protests were fueled by false information about the identity of the suspect, presented as a Muslim asylum seeker, but the alleged guilty is a 17-year-old boy born in Wales. More than 400 people have been arrested and 120 charged for the riots, and some have already been sentenced. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, reported that downpours claimed at least 45 lives in western Yemen. Floods in the Hodeidah region left over 500 displaced in the area and 10,000 affected as heavy rainfalls washed away houses, cars and crops. OCHA underscored the death toll amounted to 30 in the Hodeidah region, while there were 15 deaths in Makbanan, in the southwestern Taiz province. Several areas of Yemen have been hit by downpours and floods since late July, influencing on the daily lives of many people in the war-torn country. In Australia, a group of scientists reported that the Great Barrier Reef is in danger due to the increase of temperature in the oceans. The experts analyzed the samples to measure ocean temperatures since 1618, taking into account that this reef is the largest living ecosystem in the world and that it contributes more than $4.2 billion annually to the country's economy. The results show that temperatures began to rise in the 19s as a result of human influence. The scientists emphasized that the importance of their conservation, pointed out that these corals are home to thousands of species of fish, in addition to representing a great source of tourist income in many countries.
That we should be extremely concerned about the future of the reef as we know it, because, yeah, we know corals can recover from a bleaching event, but when you keep having repeated events over and over again, you really test that ability to recover. And, you know, these corals have lived for 400 years, and this is the warmest temperatures they're experiencing. And gosh, I just feel like these are the redwoods of the reef. So we need to be really respectful of those as creatures as well.
We are still in Palestine, where, despite international condemnation, the Israeli occupation army continues its genocidal war in the Gaza Strip. In this sense, authorities in Gaza reported that at least 27 people were killed in the last hours in the central and south of the enclave, among them a mother and her 4 children, who were incinerated after an attack against their tent in Khan Yunis. Precisely according to the Gaza Health Ministry, 39,699 Palestinians have been killed by Israel since last October, 70% of them women and children. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasting and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. On Thursday, Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel Peace Prize laureate, arrived in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, to take over as the new leader of the interim government. The move follows the resignation of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hassim Hasina after a student-led uprising ended Hasina's 15-year rule. In this sense, Yunus is expected to take over while his government's main objective will be to restore peace in the country after the chaos unleashed by the student protest and the violence of the clashes against the authority that left 400 people dead. It is worth mentioning that Muhammad Yunus won the Nobel Peace Prize for founding and designing the Great Grameen Bank to fight poverty in Bangladesh in 2006. Is a 27-year-old Honduran swimmer who made her debut at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games with an outstanding performance in the 200-meter freestyle. She did not advance to the next round, but her participation is a reflection of her hard work and commitment. Let's see the interview that our special envoy Carlos Montero had with this promising athlete.
Let's talk now about how tough is competing one of the events here in Paris 2024. We see those happy faces, the athletics, but behind those happy faces there is a lot of work, a lot of training. We are going to talk right now. We have as a guest Yulimar Avila. She's a swimmer from Honduras. Yulimar, thank you very much. Give us an idea how tough you have to work to be here, to represent your country.
Yes, of course. I think being an athlete definitely requires a lot of discipline. You learn a lot about time management as well as holding a routine. Sometimes you have to limit the social life, which is a bit difficult, especially at like our young ages. But it's something that always rewards us at the end, of course. So one has to wake up very early. One sometimes has to do doubles of training. The yardage continues to increase as it gets tougher. But you know that what you're working towards is a goal and a dream, and especially to swim under the flag of your own country, one feels extremely honored to have that opportunity.
Do you have, talking about the personal life, do you have a partner?
No, I don't.
Oh, I guess
swimming is my partner.
Swimming is your partner. You are in love with swimming.
In love with swimming so much.
You are in love with swimming. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess it's a faithful relationship.
Sometimes it's not that nice, but no, definitely. I think obviously some people do have partners and they're able to manage all of that. Recently, I've just kind of been focused on the sport as well as my academics. So I just finished my master's in London, which took up a lot of my time, as well as, thank you so much, as well as balancing that out with sport. So I think sometimes you have to make some sacrifices, but in the end, it's worth it to be here.
Absolutely. Yulimar, you are an experienced Olympian. You were in Tokyo. What's the difference between Tokyo 2020 and Paris 2024?
I think in the sense of the sport environment, not much has changed just because you're on the greatest stage that there is for the love of sport, and everybody has worked so hard to get here. In the sense of spectators and just having so many people cheering for you. Tokyo, obviously we didn't have any and no fans in the stands. However, this time I've had friends come from all over to come cheer me on, and it's a special feeling to be able to get out of my race and see them in the stands, or come out of my swim changed and have them congratulating me. Like, it makes you feel so amazing. So I think that's the biggest change. Just having people here to watch and cheer you on adds that extra spark to fuel you to do better.
You perform better, you swim faster when you have people on the stand cheering for you?
I think for sure, because not only are you swimming for all the hard work that you've done, but you're swimming for all the hard work of everybody that supported you to get here. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to have my parents here, but I know that they were watching me, and I had friends make the trip here. So it's like, why I'm not only representing my flag and all the hard work that I've done, but all my friends that have been there for me when I've complained about swimming, or the ones that have pushed and motivated me to keep going. So I definitely think having like friends and family cheering you on is going to push you to do your best.
Your delegation is pretty small. You have only 4 athletics. But how's the relation with people from different countries who represent different countries? Like you live in the Olympic Villa.
Yes.
How's the relationship with the Chinese, with the American? With
I think that's what's so special. I think the Olympic Village is a part of the experience of the Olympics, in the sense that you're meeting all of these people that have worked just as hard, or honestly, some sports I find a lot harder than swimming, so I'm just in awe of them when I see them. but you see everybody sharing like the same food, the same experience, the same events, all of us trying to trade pins with each other. I think that is what brings like the camaraderie of sport. So the Olympic Village is a very special place to share that with other countries that we obviously might not see all the time.
When you see somebody famous, like somebody from the dream team of USA, or maybe a swimmer that you respect, you ask them for a picture?
At the moment, no. I'm quite shy, so I don't go asking them for photos. I will try to like trade pins or just kind of be an off from the back, but I try not to bother them because obviously we're all here to do our sport, right? So I've seen like Rafa Nadal, Carlos Alvarez, and I'm like, I really want a photo. But I know they're super focused because they're trying to vie for a medal. So it's also like, all right, I'll give them their space, and then when they're done, I'll ask them for a pic.
Let's talk about the future. How do you see now, 4 years from now, it's going to be in LA, the next Olympics?
I'm really proud of Honduras and the fact that our sport of swimming is growing. I think we have so much talent in the younger generations, and I think it's going to be a real fight to see who gets to LA, but it's going to be great. I think when there are people competing for a spot to represent your country, it really brings the best out of you. So I'm excited to see what happens. I know we only have 4 this year. I think that's going to change drastically. Not only I think the younger generation or anybody else seeing us that we only have 4, and a lot of people have made comments about it, we're going to do our best to really increase the numbers. So I'm looking forward to what happens in the next 4 years, and yeah, I think the sport in Honduras is really increasing, and we have so much talent.
Julimar, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much. She has $1 million smile. Look at her. Okay, you know, it's tough. Let's keep talking about the different sports.
And with this interview, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.